There was a pause. I felt my chest tighten. I was just a human. Fragile, mortal, and insignificant compared to her. But somewhere deep inside, I felt a spark. A stubborn, foolish spark. Fine, I said. I'll go. But I fix what's broken. That's my only loyalty. She narrowed her eyes, as if evaluating my soul. Then slowly, she inclined her head. Very well. But understand this, human. I do not forgive mistakes. We left the station together. Her ship was unlike anything I had ever seen. Organic and metallic, alive in ways that defied engineering. Inside, the corridors were lined with glowing circuits that pulsed like veins. I could feel her presence everywhere, like a storm trapped in a cage. It wasn't long before I realized the truth. The Dragon Queen was not just a warrior. She was a ruler of a fractured empire, hunted by rivals, betrayed by her own generals. And the armor I had repaired, it was the last piece holding her legacy together. She spoke little at first. I worked in silence, tending to the armor, calibrating the energy conduits, realigning the neural interfaces. But slowly she began to talk. Not of conquest, not of revenge, but of fear. Of the pressure to protect her people, of the loneliness that came with being feared and revered in equal measure. I listened. And for the first time, I realized why she had screamed across the sky, why the universe seemed to tremble at her presence. She wasn't invincible. She was alone. And she had never met a human willing to look her in the eyes and say, I will fix what is broken. Nothing else matters. Then came the mid-story twist, the warning I should have seen coming. One of her generals had betrayed her, planting explosives within the ship's core. If I hadn't noticed the subtle misalignment in the main plating, she would have been destroyed in her own throne room. Why would they do this? I asked her as we worked to disarm the traps. They fear what I might become, she said. Her voice was quieter than I had ever heard. They fear me because I might change everything. I realized then that the stakes were higher than I could have imagined. This was no longer about armor. This was about survival, about the fate of an entire civilization. We barely made it through the ambush. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring as the betrayers attempted a full-scale coup. I moved mechanically, repairing breaches, rerouting power, and stabilizing her armor systems mid-flight. Each second felt stretched, elastic with tension. Each spark from my welder might have been the difference between life and death. Finally, we stood together on the command deck. She looked at me, her eyes burning with a mixture of gratitude and frustration. You have survived the impossible, human. You have done what no one else could. I swallowed, the adrenaline still coursing. It's what I do, I said. I fix what's broken. A long silence followed. Then she reached out a claw, lightly touching my shoulder. And now, you are part of my legacy. You understand what it means to protect, to endure, to defy the impossible. Few ever do. For the first time, I saw a hint of something almost vulnerable in her immense, draconic features. And I realized that the Dragon Queen, for all her power, had been waiting for someone who could see beyond fear. Someone who could act when the universe itself was falling apart. We returned to her capital world in silence. The sky burned with the colors of two suns, and the city below shimmered like a jewel in the void. She had survived, her enemies defeated or scattered. And I had survived with her, not as a soldier, not as a servant, but as a human who had done the impossible. She turned to me, her voice soft but commanding. You have proven yourself human. Not by strength but by will. Not by loyalty, but by understanding. I nodded. I only fixed what was broken. She studied me for a long moment, then roared. Not in anger, but in triumph. A sound that echoed across the city, across the mountains, and across the stars. Then you will walk beside me. And the universe will remember the day a human dared to fix a Dragon Queen's armor. I felt a strange warmth in my chest, a mix of pride, fear, and relief. The Dragon Queen's eyes softened again, and for a fleeting moment, I saw not a conqueror, but a creature who had carried the weight of countless worlds alone. And I realized, sometimes, the smallest hands could carry the heaviest burdens. As the twin suns set behind the alien horizon, her armor gleaming like molten gold, she looked at me one last time. Remember, human, she said, her voice carrying the weight of stars and centuries. This is only the beginning. And in that moment, I knew she was right. But for the first time, I wasn't afraid. I had fixed what was broken. I had survived the impossible. And I had a dragon queen who would never let me forget it. The sky roared again, twin moons rising, and I smiled, because somehow, just somehow, the universe had chosen me. The first time I saw her, the dragon queen was screaming across the sky, fire and metal raining from her shattered armor. Sparks clung to the wind like angry stars, and the sound of her roar cracked the atmosphere as if the cosmos itself had broken. I ducked behind a fuel tanker on the fringe of Orbital Station 17, clutching the plasma welder that had been my life for the last 7 years. I wasn't supposed to be here. No human was. And yet, I couldn't look away. But that was only the beginning. She descended onto the landing platform with a crash that bent steel beams. I swear the heat from her exhale warped the very air around me. The Dragon Queen's armor, etched with alien runes that pulsed faintly like veins of molten light, was mangled, gouged, scorched, and smoking. Who dared? Her voice cracked like thunder over the station's hull. Fix my armor? She stomped, and every step made the deck tremble beneath my boots. I swallowed. My hands shook, but I stepped into the open. I did, I said. The words tasted like fire in my mouth. I repaired it. Her eyes, twin pools of molten sapphire, locked on me. There was disbelief, fury, and curiosity in that gaze, all at once. A human, she hissed, on my armor? You're supposed to be dead. Her wings twitched, sending up a storm of ash and sparks. And yet, you survived. I wasn't sure I had. I had survived because I had to. Because fixing things was the only language I knew. It wasn't optional, I said. My voice was small, but I forced it steady. The plating was failing. The core was going critical. If I hadn't, my words died under her gaze. She circled me like a predator and a judge combined. Do you understand what this means? Her claws left deep grooves in the steel deck. You've touched the armor of the Dragon Queen. That is not a thing humans do. And yet here you are. I nodded, feeling my pulse hammer in my ears. The welder in my hand felt like both a lifeline and a weapon. I don't care who you are, I said, more bravely than I felt. If it's broken, it gets fixed. That's all I know. The Dragon Queen stopped, hovering inches from me. Sparks from her armor landed on my jacket, sizzling through the fabric. Do you know what you've just done? She said, quieter now, almost a whisper, and the roar that had torn the station silent became a shadow of thought. You've defied millennia of tradition. You've touched what no human should. I didn't flinch. I couldn't. I had seen what failure looked like, the station's failing life supports, the starving colonists on level C, the experiments gone wrong because no one dared to fix them in time. I had no choice but to act. She tilted her head. Her wings beat once, twice, creating a gale that threatened to throw me off balance. I should incinerate you where you stand. She circled again, faster this time. But I am intrigued. That was the moment I realized I was no longer just a mechanic. I was a key, a puzzle piece in some larger, alien design I didn't yet understand. Intrigued. I repeated, my voice hollow with fear. She landed fully this time, her immense form folding like living armor across the platform. Sparks and scorched metal made her seem almost unreal. Yes, you have skill, courage, and recklessness. Qualities I thought were extinct among your kind. I couldn't stop the small, incredulous laugh from escaping. Extinct. Do not mock me, human, she snapped, though the intensity had softened slightly. You repaired my armor. That armor is sacred. Do you know what it took to craft it? Entire worlds. Entire lifetimes. And you? She trailed off, examining me like I was a rare living specimen. You did not hesitate. That is remarkable. For a moment, the Dragon Queen's eyes softened. And then, just as quickly they hardened. Very well, she said. You will come with me. I froze. I can't leave the station. The work. The people. They are irrelevant, she interrupted. I am not asking. I am commanding. You will serve me or you will die.